Be this world, changing your mindset.
Two wrongs they say can never make a right. Not now, not ever. Every suspect in the law courts is considered innocent until proven guilty. Good to have you on another edition of your weekly TV talk show, Be This World. It's my pleasure to have you join us this week. A quick break, I'll be right back. Don't go away.
The Honorable Member representing Nsukka Igbo-Eze South Federal Constituency of Enugu State in southeast Nigeria graduated from the University of Nigeria Nsukka in 1988 with a bachelor's degree in medicine. Prior to becoming a member of the Federal House of Representatives in 2007, he served his people in different capacities at the local government and state levels. Honorable Patrick Asadu was re-elected in 2015, having served his constituency since 2007 in the Federal House of Representatives. It is worthy to note that he has as his legislative interest human rights protection of vulnerable groups, citizens, and human capital development in line with his passion and personality that shows how far this man can go to protect lives of Nigerians and anyone. Honorable Dr. Patrick Asadu, our guest on Be This World show this week.
Good to have you back. If you're just joining us, this is Be This World. And my guest today on the show is Honorable Dr. Asadu Patrick, a member of Federal House of Representatives representing Nsukka Igbo-Eze local governments in Enugu State. My Honorable, it's my pleasure to have you on Be This World today.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you. Welcome, Nigerians.
You're looking good.
Thank you. Yeah, you look better.
I'm really impressed. Most of the Honorable have been seeing the way you are promoting Made in Nigeria.
Yeah, we have not shown. As a matter of fact, one of the best legislations we have passed is not just local content in terms of forcing oil majors to patronize Nigerian manpower, Nigerian facilities, but we're actually trying to drag it to our own way of thinking and making sure that those who feed from Nigeria also understand that we have so much that are absolutely sensational.
Now, Honorable, our topic today is jungle justice. With the rate of increase in the jungle justice in our society, considering that the society we have today in Nigeria is a society of young people. When I say young people, I mean from 1 to 60. These are vibrant age. And the rates at which jungle justice drive in our society, one will ask, where are we and where are we going to?
Well, it's unfortunate and it's totally condemnable. It's something one had hoped that before now we have overcome completely. But it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened for one. Our legal jurisprudence, our court system seem to be slow. Sometimes the people are not convinced that the law has taken its course or the due process is followed. But despite all our misgivings about who is the suspect, who is doing the trial and how the trial is going on, the maximum law that is better to allow one innocent person is worse to convict or get one innocent person punished, allowing 99 potential suspects escape, is damaged when you take the law into your hands. That takes us actually to the primitive old man, which was described as nasty, brutish, and the life was hell. What is going on in Nigeria is both a failure of governance and a failure of followership. Governance, because when courts give judgments and even when government find it difficult to obey these courts, we're encouraging the set to feel that you can have it your own way.
Exactly.
But worse is when they shout ole and you start hitting somebody, not knowing whether it is a political opponent, whether it's somebody's quarreling over land, whether it's quarreling over a girlfriend. These are things we must control our emotions, and we must also try people who met jungle justice as having committed an offense, because until somebody is properly arraigned before a legally and legitimately constituted authority which finds him guilty, you have no right to take a life. You have no right to even attack. And I've seen it, I've met it.
Yeah.
I've witnessed it. And when you try to intervene, people think you are condoning crime. No. What we're saying is that there is a process of advance, our democracy is improving, so we cannot be living as great forefathers. So the jungle justice we're talking about is a life problem that must be tackled systematically. We want it from the home, we want it from the church, from the mosque. We want it to be an irritation to know that no matter how slow the justice system is, we must have and we must retain confidence in it. Because the justice system in Nigeria is not worse than in some other African countries. Yet they wait for the law.
Yeah, actually, from what you said, it's obvious that most Nigerians has been starved for justice, from what you said. And you said we want it from home, from church, from all our area. But it should start from the people in the power. But if people are not getting it, that is actually what we're facing today. That's what we have today.
Yeah, it's a life problem. We have to look at our status. We have to look at our procedures. We have to situate it within our institutional weaknesses. Because look at the agencies of the state that are supposed to tackle issues about crime and crime prevention, detection, and trials. And you look at the Nigerian police, you look at the other investigative agencies, and you see from the recruitment process to the training process to the even funding that they are not just in a position to met out or carry out their functions as required by law. You see, sometimes I feel for Nigeria, when you are on the road and you meet some of our security agents and you talk to them, is either seeing someone that is drunk, someone that cannot even understand what you're saying and is carrying a gun. So we are living between the jungle justice meted out by the irate mob, and like the acting president was saying, one of the president was saying, one of the good lucks we have retained in this country is that we are trying our youths. We're trying a country where there is so much tension, where there is mass poverty, and where hope is dimming. And we are seeing people live as if there is no law. So one day, when the immigration fiasco happened, and people were crushed in the stadium, I just thanked God and kept praying that these people do not march out from that place and start reacting the way some other youths will react. So I think that we are living between that and then ill-equipped, ill-motivated, ill-funded security agency. And then we're also having laws where sometimes the commander-in-chief is like a god. Because if you can appoint an IG and move an IG the way you want, you can appoint DSS and move the way you want, you can appoint all the security agencies, army chiefs and all that. In a country where we want to hold on to offices, sometimes these agencies tend to bend to whoever is in power. I'm not talking particularly about the PC or PDP government. I'm just saying that these institutions must be independent, must be shaded by the law, must be provided for to give their operatives both the capacity and the funding to carry out their legitimate assignment. We have a lot of challenges over whether the numbers are enough. It's not just about numbers, the quality of the people we put in there.
Yeah.
In a country where graduates are now unemployed, why are we not getting our best graduates into those security systems and fund them, pay them requisite wages so that they will take our security and investigative process to the next level? We can't just keep deceiving ourselves.
Just joining us, this is This World, and my guest today on the show is Honorable Dr. Asadu Patrick. Honorable, now we just celebrated democracy, and a lot of Nigerians were like, what is in it to celebrate? Looking at what is happening and what's the instance you just gave, people's life doesn't worth anything, and the way we appoint these people, and if the politicians should discharge themselves from appointment of all these people to get the society we want and make it a better society. So what do we do?
You know, I think I got a lot of challenges like that, especially in the social media, saying what makes Nigeria great, why are we celebrating, why are we wasting our time? But I have two perspectives to it. One, we need to situate our challenges, take account of where did we start, where are we now, where are we going. Where we started was too bad. where one man could wake up and share states the way he wanted, create local governments the way he wanted. As a matter of fact, it's possible for one general to take everything that was due to a state and not invest anything. That's why this infrastructure we're having now in my own part of the country and mainly what has been erected since the democracy came, because politicians have to do something and to survive the next election. They may not be doing all that should do, but they are competing. So within the zone, each state is trying to do something, maybe not quite well. But to look at it this way, many countries that go through what Nigeria went through, that is civil war, have not come out to even talk about democracy. So you have to read about and watch what's going on in Somalia, what's going on in South Sudan, what's going on in Eritrea, to know that for us, God is alive and God has kept us together, because this is a multinational country where we totally think about self first. So we went through a bruising, very brutal war and came together and said, let us go on. And we're going on gradually, steadily making progress. More importantly, if democracy continues and we keep on, I'm here for the third term, and I seem to understand what was going on in the legislature much more than most first-termers will understand, much more than second-termers will understand. And that has given me some institutional memory to even guide people to say, this could be done in a different way, and people will listen. So I think that democracy in Nigeria, it has its own challenges. It cannot be like America, even if it's to be America. We have to look at their history before they go to where they were. If you go to the memorials in America, you see how many people were killed in different wars before they got to that. But one civil war, we said we don't want to wait.
We should learn from them. We shouldn't wait for all
those. We should reach there, but we shouldn't go through the way they went. Because their own was so bloody, so because they also were territorial. They would leave their country and go to Korea and fight Korean War. Go to for us in Nigeria, what we celebrate is that, first of all, despite having religious differences, having ethnic differences, having linguistic differences, or so many other primordial differences, we can still come together as 360 members and sit in a day and take decisions that will tend to bind us more than divide us. More importantly, we are looking at infrastructural challenges and saying that I think the military, for whatever it is worth, should not go near democracy, because near governance, because they are totally ill-equipped for it, ill-prepared for it. And what, even with the APC government in the last 2 years, we have not noticed too much infrastructure. What they have done is bigger than what the military did for all those years they were in power. So the military, for me, is not an option at all. Yeah. So we can come back as politicians, quarrel amongst ourselves, disagree, abuse each other, but we sit down on the table and agree that we must run this country together.
Now, let's start on what we are talking about, the mob and this thing. Now, it happens that most of the people that are being molested, these mob people, are the low citizens. And the low citizens, they themselves affect their members, not the elite who has made this law for themselves. So why is this so?
I actually believe it's a class struggle. It's always easier. What I would laugh at most of the time, if you see the policeman that is on the roadside in the evening, he's waiting for the Okada riders and web operators. He's not waiting for the jeep driving tinted glass man, because he feels that this may be a big man or somebody who knows his rights. So the first thing is that you live amongst yourself. You feel you can hit this man. If you are of means, they won't even attack your child so easily, because they may think that you take action. That I agree with, which is wrong. Whether you are from the low or from the mighty, you shouldn't be subject to jungle justice. No matter how heinous what you think you've done, we should insist as well that we're not leaving this place until justice is done. Now, why I feel for the citizenry is that sometimes they hand over somebody they feel they caught in actual crime to the police. Not only would they see the person the next day or the next few months out in the public, but they become victims of reprisal from those. So if we don't get our police and our judiciary system to understand that when you do not handle this case well, we are coming after you as people to say what laws did this man come out. We are not yet organized in that form. But what we're encouraging civil society, encouraging the media, encouraging our people to do is to also avail themselves of so many other rights you can avail, but especially in Parliament, because this is one place you can come and say the way you want and nobody will touch you. There's a committee here that is public petition, and I sit on that committee, and I can tell you that there is no week we are not getting up to 20 or more petitions for people who are grieved either the way the justice is being meted out, they were not satisfied, either to themselves or to people around them. And then to your rep, somebody is presenting either in the state legislature, in the local government, in the national, who you can say, we got this man in actual crime, we handed him over to this policeman and he has let him go. By the time he comes and faces TV twice, he will now sit up. But for you to say that because you are suspecting he may not do the work well, you go and do something. Supposing you waste innocent blood, how do you sit down before your God on Judgment Day and say that it was a mistake? Because the life is already lost. So it is frustrating, but we must learn the democracy. The democratic temper is something we need, and that is to accept that the rule of law is supreme. That no matter how angry I am, I will allow the justice system to take its course. We must encourage our judiciary. Of course, we in the National Assembly, we do not take judiciary for granted. If you look at the protests over which budget is increasing, you look at the percentage increase for the judiciary and that of the legislature, you will see that we believe that a strong judiciary is the first line of defense for the common man. And our hope is that the judiciary will also be strengthened in terms of capacity building, in terms of having men of questionable integrity, and in terms of doing the proper investigation. Because sometimes when I see FCC with about 20 or 30 charges against an individual, it just shows that they are gambling, that if this one doesn't catch you, the other one catches you. Exactly. And in the end, most of them don't catch you because the investigation, everything needs to be really organized so that the FCC also have their capacity enhanced. Because I interact with a lot of them, and you see that if they want to go for investigation, they need a suspect or a complainant to give them money to travel. That's not how an investigation will be done. They must have the funding. They must have the confidence that what they're doing will end somewhere.
Because who fund you can easily control you.
He must control you. Exactly. Who pays the piper will take it to. It's not done in any other country that you have any interaction with the suspect. And that's the difference between us and another country. And you don't have to be abusive. Yeah. You can see if a British police wants to arrest you, he'll be the most polite, he'll be with you, sir, that you should just step aside, you will soon go. But he's tightening his noose around your neck. Same thing with those advanced democracies. Why do not cry over it? That I feel that as long as we discuss topics like this, and as long as we learn lessons from it, and is all to make us more calmly follow up with our challenges, and democracy will keep on improving, and the attraction for jungle justice will keep on diminishing, especially if when jungle justice is meted at anybody, we get the picture of those who, of course, something happened in River some time ago when some students went to collect money from someone and he raised ole, and they came out and killed 4 young people. And then the police had been up to it, because I think both the king and others were arrested.
4 years now, and we've not had anything from it.
Recently, some were freed, those who could not establish professional cases against. But what I'm saying is that wherever jungle justice is meted out, all those who are involved should come and explain how they first were sure that this is the culprit. So we give them the power under which law we are operating. Exactly. So if you are not under any law, you pay for it. Exactly. That way we dissuade people. So no matter the provocation, what I'm proposing as encouragement to the citizen is that you have a right to actually follow up on the case reported to the police, and you do not need. If you're writing to a public petition, you do not need any magic. If you're talking to your rep, it's enough for you to come and say, this is what is happening going on in our place, and this is not what is happening. We have constituency offices, we have email addresses, we have phone numbers, and it's possible that we get to know that this man committed armed robbery, raped a woman, did something against state, did petty crime, who was arrested and handed over to the police, and because every citizen has a right to actually intercept a criminal when he's committing action, but offense. But for you to become the accuser, the judge. And the jury is not possible.
Now, what is causing the jungle justice in this country is because, one, they are not following the rules and regulations. That is the constitution. If you even look at it, even mainly there in the Senate House, they are fighting in each other, and everybody are watching. And if they can start from the upper house to start fighting, tell me what will happen to the other people that are below. Look at the community as a whole. You see them at the end of the day, what is there that they're supposed to carry to the police station? They will be scared because the police themselves are not doing the work because they want to collect money.
I could remember some time ago, someone was caught for robbery and then he was jailed. After 2 years, we saw the same person back on the street doing the same thing. And then how can we have, how can we tolerate such kind of nonsense? That reason why people are pushed to the corner that they cannot bear it any longer. They look at it that, okay, let's take justice to our hand and then, and that's the end.
Now, lastly, how do we make sure that the rule of law is being taken place? And from all what we've said, I think it's a mindset thing from the populace, from the public. How do we get this?
Yeah, that's why I say that we need to retrain ourselves. We need to go back to base. And the question we ask, if they are saying hit him, is supposing this man is not the culprit. Supposing it is my blood that kills him, can I kneel down before God tomorrow and say I'm very sure that this man committed it? So if we do not put this in our minds, both as citizens and as security operatives, as law enforcement agents, if I fire this shot, how am I sitting facing my God to say I'm 100% sure that this man committed it? And if he committed it, why did we make a law that for this offense you should go to court and get charged and defend yourself? And if you find you guilty, for those which have capital punishment, you should face capital punishment. So the only complaint is that they are not sure that the man will be convicted or will be tried at all. And that's what I'm saying, that you have a right to follow up without even exposing yourself to the so-called reprisal attacks from the security agents or from the mob by just approaching any of your legislators to complain. If he doesn't, the social media is active. What we are doing now is a public affairs issue. So anybody can say tomorrow, but I complained to Dr. Asadu that somebody was committing an offense and he did nothing. That's enough damage to my whatever stand for. So that's what we should be encouraging. For the judiciary, I think they've been noble, especially at some levels, but we also believe that justice can be done faster, especially on those criminal cases. Then for the law enforcement agencies, I think it's a total orientation. It's a total overview. We need to sit down and say, is it the police Nigeria needs, or do we need community policing? You need a place that your father can go to his house later at night and say, this is my son, I know that you are holding. I know where you are born. If anything happens to him, I'll go to a village and report to you. So try him through the law. Or a place that you put somebody from Enugu to Borno State. So he's treating people without any emotion. He's thinking at his animals. And then if we are going to do community policing, how are we going to insulate it from political control? Now, even that we are doing central policing, how independent is the IG's office? How independent is the Nigerian police? How independent is their investigative units or the other anti-corruption agencies or the? So until we institutionalize and separate them, and one of the proposals I have clearly is that the appointment system, especially for leadership, must be changed completely. If you start conversing now, they will think you're PDP, you don't want APC. It's not about APC, it's not about PDP. Nigeria is bigger than party, because he who controls your appointment, your discipline, your dismissal, if he wants to abuse it, he can easily call you, especially if you're not afraid and stuff. And we've seen it happen in this country.
Wow. My Honorable, it's been wonderful speaking with you. I know this topic is really vague. If we start talking today, we might not finish.
It's frustrating. As a medical doctor, I feel bad because to me, I've been trained to protect the vulnerable and prevent deaths. So if you see avoidable deaths, if you see somebody whose life is cut short for something you cannot prove, and if you prove, you could have the patience to let the person go through the judiciary, then you know why I feel passionate about this.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Please, your message to Nigerians in general.
Yeah, I think we want to thank Nigerians for believing in Nigeria up to this point. We may quarrel about whether democracy is the best or not, but you need to visit other countries that look up to us as giants. I was in the ECOWAS Parliament for 2 sessions, serving to all West African countries, and I think Nigeria, we're having our challenges, but we are not the worst. We could not have been Somalia, we could not have been Eritrea, we could not have been South Sudan. So if a country with more than 200 languages and ethnic nations can hold together and keep pushing in one direction, I believe that the future will brighten up, even if it's not bright now. But again, look at our infrastructural development. I'm coming from Enugu. I've seen the transformation that has happened in the last 2 years of the present government. I saw the efforts of the previous governments, and I believe that it can only happen in democracy. So all our disagreements must be within the Nigerian context.
Please, Honorable, talk to the youth who actually activates this mob action.
I think, again, I must commend the Nigerian youth. I think the country is tense, is tough, You can come out first class now and nobody gives you any space to operate. So we will bear a lot. But we shouldn't give up the hope. We shouldn't give up to emotions. We shouldn't allow raw sentiments, because people can easily set up those they don't like, and you'll be used to commit something that will ruin you forever. Especially by political actors, by business interests, by whatever. So we can be better civil people for our country if we can apprehend offenders when we see them committing it. But be patient enough to hand them over to the security agencies. We also have the patience and persistence to follow up on what happens after you've handed over. If you for any reason feel that suspect has gotten away with a slap on the wrist, you have a lot of other institutions which you can appeal to, including the National Assembly.
Thank you very much, my Honorable. I really appreciate for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
We've heard it from my Honorable himself. I don't even need to say he has said it all. But the most important thing he said there is patient. We need to be patient with our society, and we need to value life. Most times we do this thing and we get away with it because it's not us, it's not our siblings, it's not our relatives. But when it happens to us, we know how it feels. Let's allow the law take its course. Let's give them time. Yes, from what we are doing now and what has been doing, I think the system is going to change. That's much be taken today on the show. But remember, www.bdsword.tv. If you missed this interview, you can watch it online. Bye.